PNR Networks is a member of Patreon. Show your love for our shows by joining our ongoing fundraising campaign and get some fantastic perks in return. Check it out and become a Patreon sponsor. You can sign up at patreon.com, patreon.com/PNR Networks. And thanks for your support.
This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
It's Kim versus TC in the battle of the lists.
My list is better.
My list is better.
My list is better.
No, it's not. My list is better.
Kim or TC, who has the better list? From Subject Cinema, this is Front Row 5 and 10 with Kim Brown and TC Kirkham.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another week here of Front Row 5 and 10, brought to you by the people who bring you Subject Cinema. That would be him and me, the me part being Kim Brown.
And the me part being TC Kirkham, or the him part being TC Kirkham. I don't know if I like being described as the him part. That makes me sound like a himbo or something.
No, it's like his and hers towels.
Oh, okay.
No.
Front Row 5 and 10 is where we do our 5 and 10 lists. About all things stuff. If you've got a list idea that you'd like us to use, by all means, shoot it over to us at frontrow@PNRNetworks.com. If we use it, we will mention your name on the air and
Give you all kinds of credit.
A whole bunch of other nice things might happen. You never know. So, what did you pick this week?
This week
we should be, before we go any further, we're sorry that we're a day later than usual. This is now our permanent day. Front Row 5 and 10 will now appear on Thursdays because we have something else going on that will be premiering on Wednesday in February, and we'll tell you more about that later this month. Anyway, what was this week's show about?
This week's topic is, we each made a list, our top 10 favorite female fictional characters.
Okay.
And why we love them so much.
Okay.
So,
fictional characters. I said literary characters, but fictional characters is more accurate, I suppose. Mm-hmm. So what criteria did you use?
The criteria that I used was how important the character is to me, as, you know, like in regards to, you know, when they came into my life, when they became important to me, why they're important to me, and why they're important to women in general, or should be important to women in general.
Okay.
What about you?
I picked them. I picked each person. Mine are going to be so fluffy compared to yours, probably. I picked each person based on a criteria about particular roles that women play, or roles that these women really establish in my head. So it's an interesting little thing.
Yeah, I think so. Since I picked the list, that means you get to start. Do you have any honorable mentions?
Nope.
My honorable mentions are Batgirl, the Barbara Gordon version, Hermione Granger from the Harry Potter books and movies, and Storm of the X-Men, a.k.a. Aurora Moreau.
Okay. So there are 10 other people that you thought were...
And I have 10 other people that I feel did make the list.
Okay. Just so you know, we're both fighting off cough, so... We might start coughing again. We're still getting over these colds we've had.
It's by the way, it's Aurora Monroe. I'm sorry I said it wrong.
Did you say it wrong?
I did say it wrong.
Okay.
I forgot the N.
Oh, okay, sorry. My number 10 I picked because this woman has cunning. She has guts out the wazoo sometimes. She's very smart, and she represents the elderly. My number 10 is Jane Marple from the Agatha Christie Miss Marple series. She can be a nosy old sot sometimes. In fact, she can be a busybody. But she does have a way of getting under people's skin. She has good friends. And she keeps solving murders in her little tiny town. I would be afraid to live in this little tiny town she lives in. Everybody around her gets killed. She's a very strong woman for her age. She's in her late 50s in the beginning, and she runs up to
I think she's older than that.
Well, I think when she was first written, she was in her late 50s, and by the time they got done with her, she was in her 70s, maybe even older. But there's some... She does have this kind of twinkle also that her friends know the little gray cells are activated. Her friend... Her other literary partner in crime from Agatha Christie, Hercule Poirot, always talks about the little gray cells. And she's got plenty of them. Number 10, Jane Marple.
All right. My number 10 is, this is a little different. We talked about we were going to look at characters from, all kinds of genres and places, movies, TV, books. But we hadn't talked about the idea of songs. And
well, it fits.
It does fit. Because my number 10 is The Princess. Now, you might not know who The Princess is because this song, unfortunately, is not as well known as it should be. Because it's a terrific song. It's by a gentleman named Jonathan Colton. And the name of the song is The Princess Who Saved Herself. The Princess Who Saved Herself is a song about a princess that lives in a castle, and when stuff goes wrong, or things happen, or you have the odd dragon or witch showing up, she takes care of things. She doesn't wait for a man to come rescue her. She doesn't need some guy to come kiss her while she's in a glass coffin. Ew. Or slip a shoe on her foot. She is making her own destiny. It's a terrific song. The first time I heard it, I'm pretty sure the first time I heard it was when we were attending a Riff Tracks, because they have songs that they play before the actual event. And I listened to this song and I was like, this is awesome! And I went and searched it out online. It's a terrific song. You can find it on YouTube or just Google it. The song is called The Princess Who Saved Herself. So my number 10 is The Princess.
Wow, that's getting a bit esoteric because I don't even know what that song is. My number 9 I picked because she is the perfect combination of beauty and brains when it comes to what she's best known for. It doesn't hurt that she can use her mind for a lot more than just beauty and brains. But the X-Men's Jean Grey is quite the smart cookie. Now, you can see her in her teenage years in the comic books. The original comic books are on X-Men Evolution, and in the most recent X-Men movie, Apocalypse. Or you can see her as the older Jean Grey in the more older X-Men movies, and in the comic books, later comic books, where she's actually called Phoenix in some of them, which isn't actually her, sort of. It's like a dark part of her.
Well, there's the Phoenix and Dark Phoenix. I mean,
right.
We're not going to get into that.
But they're all different versions with Jean's personality implanted into them and vice versa. It's all very confusing. But I find Jean alluring. I find her strong. She's not a dummy by any stretch of the imagination. She's a scientist in the later comics and in the movies, where she is well aware of what she's able to do to help Professor X with his studies into her powers and all of the mutant abilities of his various students. She is not afraid to get dirty in a fight. She's not afraid to do anything, actually, very little. And of course, they keep messing with the canon. Killing her off, reviving her, doing this, doing that. It's all over the road with her. But she's a lot of fun, and especially is played by Famke Janssen in the original films, and more recently, Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones. she just got it all. Beauty, brains, style. Hubba hubba. Number 9, Jean Grey.
Okay. The next person on my list is one of the younger people that is on the list, and she is also the newest person in regards to the fact that I only met her a couple of months ago, and I was thoroughly enchanted by her. My number 9 is Moana Wailiki from the animated film Moana. A young girl that decides that she is going to take it upon herself to leave her family in the safety of her island because there is a curse that is blighting the land and the crops and will eventually destroy everything. Moana goes on a journey that most men, I think, would be afraid to go on. And she is afraid, but she has learned, she learns through what she's doing that bravery isn't facing something and being like, I'm not afraid. Bravery is facing something and being like, I am afraid, and I'm going to do this anyway. She is smart. She is a really great role model for young girls, I think. And she's just a very kind, caring person on top of being, so young and realizing her responsibility and the fact that she's trying to find, to quote a Michael W. Smith song, her place in this world. So my number 9, Moana Wailiki.
Yes, yours are a lot more esoteric than mine. I thought so. I'm really going to feel stupid.
That's really scary. That's really scary if I'm the deep end. That's,
I only go on surface because that's all I know. I can't get inside because these are characters. You can't really get inside because you're not really getting to know a real person. You're only getting to know the character. Although I do feel I know number 8 quite well because, and she's been around for a long, long time. She is the combination of extremely savvy when it comes to everything she does and extremely real. You can relate to her. You know that she's got a job to do and she'll do it and do it well without any questions asked. But under all that, she's still a very beautiful, caring woman who cares about her friends, her job, her life, and who wants to make the best of everything for everybody. My number 8 is Nyota Uhura from the Star Trek franchise, played by Nichelle Nichols in the television series and original films, and Zoe Saldana in the more recent update. The Nichelle Nichols version of Uhura is much more laid back. She's unfortunately a secondary character because of the time. You didn't have African Americans in lead roles, and it was hard for her. She almost left the show at the end of her first season because she couldn't figure out what her place was. But Uhura became a role model for little young African American and other ethnic groups everywhere over the next 20 years. Nichelle Nichols went on to work with NASA and help them recruit more females. She continued to do in-person appearances for Star Trek and for Gene Roddenberry, her longtime friend. And the character is 100% you. The way Nichelle plays the character, Uhura is just another person. She's a real person. Doesn't matter whether she's black or white or Asian or another alien race, or even if she's male or female. She's very much a real person. And that really shines through in a number of episodes that she has a larger part in. Now, the Zoe Saldana version in the more recent J.J. Abrams revival of the franchise has been tough as nails and incredibly loyal to her longtime lover, Spock, played by Zachary Quinto, and also knows her stuff backward and forward. Whether it's just hailing frequencies open, Captain, or shooting somebody in the butt or speaking Klingon to try and calm people down, she's going to do it and do it well. The woman has all kinds of skills. She's savvy, she's technically good, she's beautiful, and she's everyday real. Nyota Uhura, number 8.
Okay. My number 8 is somebody that I think I probably ticked off some Potterheads out there that Hermione Granger got an honorable mention. I know that Hermione is part of the golden trio of Harry, Ron, and herself. And she's a terrific character. She also occasionally got on my nerves. I'm sorry.
Occasionally?
I'm sorry, there it is.
I'm sorry, I love Emma Watson. Hermione's annoying as all hell. I love her, but she's all annoying as all hell. She obviously did not make my list.
My number 8 is somebody from the Harry Potter universe that I put on the list because I identify with them much more than I identify with Hermione. My number 8 is Luna Lovegood.
Had a feeling.
Luna is a student at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. She is sorted into Ravenclaw House, but she doesn't really fit in there. Actually, Luna doesn't fit in a lot of places. And Luna could really seem to not give a flying rat's butt.
No.
She gets... You can tell that she does get a little hurt that... Let me rephrase that. She knows that there are people in her house and in the school that think that she's just this brain dead weirdo, and they make fun of her, and they really they're really pretty nasty to her in the books, and they steal her belongings, and but her whole thing is that she just kind of wipes it all off. She doesn't hold grudges. She's a really strong person. I mean, people think that she's kind of a flake, and yeah, you know what? She is, and you know what else? She's happy. As opposed to other people who want to be normal and they're miserable all the time. I look at Luna, and all I could think about when I was watching the Harry Potter films and they introduced the character of Luna, I remember thinking to myself, if I went to Hogwarts, I'd want to be friends with her. I would want to be friends with her because she seems like she was a terrific kid and just a really all-around good person.
And a lot like you.
And yeah, a lot like me if you take out the violent streak and the occasional need to cause chaos and mayhem. That's me, by the way, not Luna. So my number 8 is Luna Lovegood.
Yeah, Luna's a good choice too. I
Thanks.
like that. My number 7 is the perfect representation of a woman stuck in a man's world. She has men all around her, and she's fuming that she can't do what they do because they don't think it proper for a woman to do things like that. Because in that day, in that realm, it wasn't really working until she made it work. You really can't deny that the woman is just as good as a man, even if she doesn't always let people know that it's a woman under the helmet. My number 7 is Eowyn from the Lord of the Rings franchise, played wonderfully by Miranda Otto, particularly in The Two Towers and Return of the King. I love this character. She's strong. She's feisty. She goes for what she wants, and she thinks it's ridiculous that women can't do what men do. Now, of course, you got her. It's her uncle, right? That's the King Theoden, and even Aragorn, to some extent, kind of looking down at her for her wishes to be able to help more.
Yeah.
It's only Merry and Pippin that are listening to what she has to say.
Right.
And it's a very interesting thing.
Can I just interrupt for 1 second? You do need to bring up the fact that both Theoden and Aragorn, they're looking at her from a standpoint of, oh, you're not good enough. It's more a case of we love you enough that we don't want to see you get killed.
And you're a woman and you're not good enough. It's a combination of both of them.
All right.
Because it's the way that is. That's just how it works then, I think. Of course, she later teams up with Merry to go off and fight in the Pelennor Fields battle and ends up becoming a major part of that.
Yeah.
And winning everybody's hearts over. I don't really think Theoden still realizes exactly what she did. At that point, but it is an amazing transformation and someone that whereas a lot of the other women in the Lord of the Rings series are a bit more, and I'm not trying to be insulting, a bit more, what is a good word that I want? I'm trying to think of a good word to describe them. They're a bit more complacent with their place, but help a little I mean, it's a little bit different for somebody like I've forgotten her name. Liv Tyler. Arwen, because she can use elven magic to do things that, most women can't do. But a lot of the other women, the few other women that are involved, are just kind of side pieces. Eowyn takes that side piece, grabs it, puts it in front of her, walks it forward. Tally-ho! Love this woman. Eowyn from the Lord of the Rings series, number 7.
That's a really good choice. I think that's an excellent choice.
Or Eowyn, actually, is how it's pronounced. Not
yeah.
Eowyn. Sorry.
No, that's cool. Well, considering the fact that she's really the only human woman that is focused on.
It is,
because
yes.
all of the other characters that are focused on are not human. Galadriel or Arwen or even Rosie Cotton. They're not human. They're all other races. But that's an excellent choice. And Miranda Otto kicked
butt.
Oh,
loved Miranda
awesome.
Otto ever since.
Number 7 on my list is. This is another person. I think something that slipped into my criteria, not on purpose. I just noticed that it kind of happened.
Okay.
As it happened with the person at number 8. This is also a person that I was like, I'd like to hang out with them because they seem really cool. And we'd have a lot to talk about because we both love one thing a lot. And we're both very passionate about one thing, and that's books. My number 7 is Belle from the Disney animated classic and soon-to-be live-action Beauty and the Beast. Belle lives in this small town, and she's... I would say, yeah, she's dissatisfied. I mean, she puts on a good face, and she's cheerful and nice and everything like that. But as she sings in one of the songs, there must be more than this provincial life. She's just expected to, get married and have children and be a housewife and all that.
Like most women do, right.
And she's like, no. She's like, no, thank you. I don't really want that. I want more than that. The other people in town think that she's weird because she reads books and because she likes to read books. Gasp, clutch pearls, And then you've got, Gaston, this type A alpha male jerk-off that is, all about like, oh, you should be in love with me because I've got muscles and I'm so awesome. And she's like, yeah. Have fun with that. I just loved the way that she... And the whole, relationship that she has with the Beast when she winds up at first becoming his prisoner, and then over time she starts to see the person that's underneath this curse. And, it's a very timeless love story, and it's, I know some people would argue Stockholm Syndrome, but I do think that
I
Belle...
can't believe you just went there.
Well,
honestly.
I'm not the one that brought it up. I mean, other people have brought it up, not me. But I feel like Belle is a really good character for young girls to emulate. Again, I mean, I know some people like Disney princess, blah, 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 blah. But I feel like she's very different from other Disney princesses, especially the old school ones. With like Snow White and the whole "someday my prince will come." Well, go get him if you want him. Go get him.
Yeah.
And the whole Cinderella, thing, and don't even get me started on Sleeping Beauty. But the fact that Belle is her own person is the thing that I like the best about her. Mm-hmm. And even once she becomes part of a couple, she's still her own person. Mm-hmm. Her identity isn't overtaken by the Beast.
Right.
And that's why Belle is my number 7.
That's a good choice.
Thanks.
My number 6 represents headstrong and fierce and devoted to their cause. She is not afraid to get in the face of anybody, even if they're a foot taller than her. She is not afraid to speak her mind, even if it won't be agreed with by anybody else. She is the consummate person for the job that she does, and even though she's thrust into it at a very young age and is still waging the war now, there's something about her that you still can't help but admire her, the way she thinks, her indomitable spirit, and the fact that she puts up with a goofball like Han Solo. Number 6, Princess Leia from the Star Wars franchise, as personified by the lovely and late Carrie Fisher, unfortunately. Leia has come full circle in this franchise at this point, now that Rogue One is out. We've seen the beginnings of her in Star Wars and the growth of the original trilogy, and now we have seen her battle-weary life as a general in the Rebel Army has taken its toll also, mostly because of what happened with her son. She is still looked upon as the ultimate authority when it comes to this group of people. They still put all of their trust in this woman. They know she's been around the block. They know she knows what she's talking about. And she's been doing it since she was 19 years old. That's a lot of time. So she fell for a rogue like Han Solo at one point. And she's got this twin brother named Luke Skywalker or some such junk out there who's kind of lost his mind in the last movie, apparently. But we'll find out later this year. But as a character, Princess Leia is a great role model for young ladies. She personifies everything that you're supposed to be when you want a business career or you put your mind to it and you do it. Whether it's fighting a rebel army or becoming the best model you can be or a top chef or whatever it is you're going for, she is a great person to emulate for that. Okay. Number 6, Princess Leia from the Star Wars franchise.
That's awesome. Number 6 is from a series that you mentioned previously, but I went with a different person.
Okay.
My number 6 is Arwen Undomiel from the Middle-earth series of books and the Lord of the Rings movies. Now, I realize some people are now yelling at me. Sorry, Chris. But because in Fellowship of the Ring, the movie, the whole thing where Arwen rescues Frodo and all that stuff like that, in the original book written by J.R.R. Tolkien, that was not Arwen. That was a male elf named Glorfindel. Because somebody noticed, hey, there's a lot of dudes in this movie. We need to actually...
Not somebody. Philippa and Peter.
Yeah. They actually noticed this movie's a bit heavy on the
kind of like the way Tilda Swinton ended up in Doctor Strange. Yeah.
We need to rectify that. So Arwen, who is a smaller character in the books, is given that
a
task.
large role in the film franchise.
The thing about Arwen that I find so amazing. There's a ton of things to find amazing about her. She's beautiful. She's brave. She can wield magic. She can wield a sword. She can do all these incredible things. And she's in love. She's so in love with a mortal that she is willing to do something that completely, I think most people would be like, are you frigging insane? She decides to give up her immortality so she can be with Aragorn, the man she loves. Now, to me, this has got to be one of the ultimate expressions of love and showing how much you're willing to give of yourself for someone that you love. When the scene on the bridge in Fellowship of the Ring where she and Aragorn are talking, and she tells him she's willing to give up her immortality to be with him. She says...
Well, that's not what she says. She says, I choose a mortal life. That doesn't mean she's giving up her immortality, as her father points out to her later in the film. Just because she's living a mortal life doesn't mean she's going to have a mortal lifespan.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it's the whole idea, though, that she's going to give up going to the Grey Havens, and she's going to give up all of that to be with this man because she loves him.
Mm-hmm.
And she has this incredible wellspring of compassion and giving, and it's so beautiful and so moving. And I just think she's an incredibly brave person to make that kind of a decision.
Mm-hmm.
It's just unbelievable. I can't even imagine knowing that you are going to outlive your husband, possibly your children.
Mm-hmm.
It's so amazing and beautiful and brave. So my number 6 is Arwen Undomiel.
Okay.
Played really beautifully by Liv Tyler.
Yep.
Who is gorgeous.
My number 5 is a little surprising, I think, to people from this, because this is going to be a little bit weird. From the 1950s to 1960s, television portrayed women as housewives. Donna Reed, Lucille Ball. They didn't really start getting interested in doing other things until the mid to late 60s. And even then, it was college girls. College girls were still trying to find their way, and they were still out to get their man, and so on and so forth. And then, in 1970, all of that changed with the arrival of the original independent woman. A woman who had been through it all already and had decided that she could take care of herself. She became a role model for women everywhere, helped spawn, in a lot of ways, the equal rights movement. You can poo-poo it because it's a sitcom, but Mary Richards of the Mary Tyler Moore Show is the ultimate independent woman. What's with the eye flare?
I'm sitting there going, he's actually going to... Oh my gosh, okay.
There's a reason that the song is called the tagline of the song is You're Gonna Make It After All.
Okay.
This is a woman who is split up from her fiancé and is now in her early 30s, God forbid, unmarried, and making a career instead of a family. It's
That's
a
true.
woman that chose to do that. Mary Tyler Moore won multiple Emmys for this role, and she continues to be identified with it almost 50 years later. There is a great strength in Mary, and there's a great bit of the independent woman from that era in Mary. They've come a long way since then. Another phrase used back then, you've come a long way, baby, and all that stuff.
Yay, lung cancer.
But as somebody who changed the television landscape for what an independent woman was, Mary Richards was perhaps the earliest pioneer, with the possible exception of Marlo Thomas's Anne Marie on That Girl. But again, college girl, still helplessly in love with a man, still chasing her man.
Mm-hmm.
Not completely and fiercely independent. The most recent character that could be shown as a Mary Richards type is the character that Meryl Streep plays in It's Complicated. Kind of like Mary at 60. Really, a lot of influence in this character. The original independent woman, Mary Richards, number 5.
Okay. I never...
that one's bad. You're really going to freak at number 4.
No, I never really thought about her like that, but that's really interesting. My number 5 is a woman who has been through things that would make most people want to just step in front of a semi. Taken at a young age and trained to be a killer. for her government. Her body's choices taken from her at a young age in something that would affect her for the rest of her life. And at a point in her life where she said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be this person. I want to be my own person. She became one of the pictures of what you picture in your mind if you think of a woman who is sexy, who is strong, intelligent, cunning, clever,
and deadly.
And very friggin' dangerous. My number 5 is Natasha Romanoff.
She would have been on my honorable mentions list.
Also known as the Black Widow. Natasha, played by Scarlett Johansson in the Avengers series and other points of the Marvel movie universe, is an incredibly human character. And I kind of almost think she'd be insulted by that. And I don't mean it that way. I mean, she's very good at being the cold, assassin or the cold, spy kind of a character. And she can turn off and on the whole, manipulating people kind of a thing. If you want a great example of that, just watch her work in the Avengers in the scene with her and Loki, where Loki thinks he's got the upper hand, and she completely turns it around on him. And you look at the look on Loki's face when he realizes,
you bitch,
he just got played.
Yeah.
And royally.
He's not the smartest knife in the drawer, though.
Well, he thinks he is.
I know he thinks he is.
But Natasha is also very human. She is, she's a person. She has wants and needs, and she obviously has feelings. I think, personally myself, I know a lot of people out there, besides the people who I think she's probably one of the most shipped characters in fan fiction. There's a lot of people out there who ship her with Hawkeye before the whole Mary thing started. Could we please not talk about shipping? I have to for just a second. A lot of people do ship her with Captain America. I myself, me personally, stand behind Team Bruce.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was coming.
I totally dig the idea of Natasha and Bruce just running off together to Nice or somewhere in France and just having a little villa someplace. I just think that would be cool. Because I just want... When I look at her, all I can... And then this is a really odd thing to think, and it's an odd way to put it, but it's how I feel. When I look at her and I look in her eyes, the only sentence that comes into my mind, I'm not kidding, I want you to be happy. Mm-hmm. I do. And that's a real hallmark of a character. When you care about them, you genuinely care. And that's why the Black Widow, a.k.a. Natasha Romanoff, is my number 5.
It's interesting that you bring up the word human, because that's the word that I've picked number 4 for.
Okay.
And there's something and this one's going to blow her mind. There's something that everybody has their own style of humanity. Mm-hmm. You sometimes are able to do what you do for a living and somehow rectify that with whatever you do in your personal life, which is not always jive in some ways. Mm-hmm. This particular character, who is actually on a show I really don't care for that much, is strong and wise. She has an amazing sense of loyalty to the people she works with, to the people she knows and works around, and the people that she knows she needs to help. It's a quality that the actress also shares. It is somebody who exudes class in the face of utter contempt. I don't know how this woman deals with what she deals with every day of the week. It would make me crazy. It would make you crazy. And even though I'm not a particular big fan of the show, I have amazing chutzpah. I think she has amazing chutzpah, and I have amazing respect for Olivia Benson from Law & Order SVU. This woman,
Wow!
played by Mariska Hargitay for almost 20 years now, is an amazing character because she is character. I don't know how to exactly make you understand what I mean. Her whole persona is about her own individual personal character. She deals with all these scumbags on SVU and all of her friends on SVU. She has amazing loyalty to the people she works with and to the people she's trying to protect. Mm-hmm. And Mariska has shown that in real life, too. She's part of a group of people that live out in the Hamptons. She's friends with people like Ina Garten and Alec Baldwin and Mel Brooks, and they do all these incredible charity events together. And it's just really something to see her be able to do something so happy. And off screen, you know she's nothing like this character, or at least not the same kind of... I mean, because Olivia is super intense. Mm-hmm. And yet, if you took that and she had that opportunity, she'd probably be that way too. I'd like to see Olivia have a little bit more happiness in her life. Doesn't seem like she has a lot. We don't see a lot of her personal life.
Well, we've seen more in the last few seasons, and she's had some good...
Kim is a wicked huge fan of SVU.
I am.
I do not... It makes me incredibly uncomfortable, that show, sometimes. And I just... But I know enough about it to know that if I'm in trouble and I have that kind of thing happening, I would want her right there, helping out where she is, because she will go to the line and beyond to make sure justice is done. Number 4, Olivia Benson from SVU.
I have to be... I am totally gobsmacked. Oh, wow, that's amazing. Good on you. That's great. My number 4 is somebody you actually mentioned before. And I have to disagree with you a little bit. I think she's older than you think she is.
Okay.
But...
I was just saying early on.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I might be wrong, though. I haven't read those for ages.
My number 4 is Miss Jane Marple. There have been so many interpretations of Jane, ranging from very close to the books by Agatha Christie to, well, she's female, so that's, you know.
Well, we haven't gotten to the point where Barry Humphries is playing her yet. That's at least something. Right?
I mean, yeah.
Barry Humphries as Dame Edna playing.
Not
Dame.
slamming Margaret Rutherford.
No.
She was a wonderful actress, but that is not my idea of Miss Marple. To be perfectly honest, neither was Angela Lansbury in The Mirror Cracked, and I hate saying that because I love Angela Lansbury.
Helen Hayes did a good job.
Helen Hayes did a very good job.
Really good job. And
Joan Hickson was
is good too.
Incredible. Miss Marple, when she first came along in the novel Murder at the Vicarage, was much less nice. She was very catty, and even the people around her didn't like her very much. That changed as Agatha Christie developed the character more and wrote about her more. The thing about Miss Marple that I like so much, and actually I feel like she has a lot in common with Olivia Benson, oddly enough, is that she feels like justice needs to be served. At one point, somebody says to her something to the effect of, "You always see the worst in people." And her answer to them is, "The worst is often true."
Ooh, that's deep. That's also really unsettling, isn't it?
Well, you have to figure when these books were written, if you go back and think about the things that the character would have gone through. You know, at the age that she's at, by the time we get to the book series, she's probably been through at least 2 world wars, or at least 1. So she's seen a lot. And the fact that she is so damn smart and so observant, not only of the surroundings, she's very observant of the surroundings, the set that makes up life, if you prefer. But she is laser focus pinpoint on the people that make up the actors in life's great play. She is, and she's so adept at coming off as just this, woolen kind of, woolen sweater, fluffy, maiden aunt that wouldn't hurt a fly and doesn't really notice stuff and that kind of a thing. And the woman's got a mind like a bear trap. And I just think that she's an amazing character. She's proof that once you get to a certain age, life doesn't have to stop, even if the lives of other people around you are stopping. My number 4, Miss Jane Marple.
Interesting that you picked her at number 4, because my number 3 also has all those same qualities, and it's a different person from television. And we'll just go straight into it because it's easiest to do it. The same deductiveness, reasoning, somebody who is book smart and street smart, somebody who knows the value of a good source and the value of a good friend to be able to do what she does, which is write mysteries and solve them. Number 3 is Jessica Fletcher from Murder, She Wrote.
Okay.
Wonderfully played by Angela Lansbury and for 11 plus years on CBS. And Jessica is the kind of person that if she wasn't out there getting her nose mixed up in murder after murder in her tiny Cabot Cove, Maine home.
Or other places.
Other places. But there were an awful lot of murders in Cabot Cove.
I know.
She is just your average, everyday widow who used to be a school teacher. Now she's a successful mystery author, self-made, plenty of friends who love her. And she's a very smart person. They come to her for advice and asking questions. Even the doctor and the sheriff are on her side. I have always admired the character because she is, again, very real in the way that she treats people. Although a lot of the situations she would get into, most people are not going to get into.
You hope not.
I hope not. But she's most of all likable. So many of these Spencer sleuths do not always end up immensely likable. Jane Marple was not likable when she first started. Another character that I liked and considered for this was Hetty Wainwright from Patricia Rutledge, who is also kind of unlikable. She's good at what she does, but she's not as friendly and even funny as Jessica, which is just one of the rare things on a cop show or a mystery show, finding somebody with a sense of humor. And that's something she carries through the entire series. My number 3, Jessica Fletcher from Murder, She Wrote.
That's a really good choice. My number 3 is someone that you've mentioned already.
I'm amazed. I can't believe we're matching that many. So that's good.
Lieutenant Nyota Uhura.
Ooh, way up there.
One of the most beautiful and capable characters in science fiction. I've mentioned before, I am a Trekkie. I have been since I was a very small child and didn't really even know what science fiction was. I just knew that this was on TV and it was neat and it had cool people in it. And wow, that lady is really beautiful. I remember thinking
she's still gorgeous. Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot. There's one word I could really, I would use to describe Uhura, and that word is poise. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter the situation she's in. She always is. She's never the hysterical female type character. That's not to say that she's cold or unfeeling or anything like that.
No.
But she definitely knows when it's time to be, she knows that when you get in a situation where everybody else is running around like a chicken with their head cut off, the worst thing you can do is go join that headless flock. You have to try and, for lack of a better term, get your shite together and, do what you need to do. I mean, that doesn't mean
giving a fan dance in the moonlight, unfortunately. Thanks, Belle.
There are worse distractions.
There are.
There are worse ways to cause a distraction. I mean, remember the distraction in No Country for Old Men? Car blowing up? Remember that one?
Yes.
I'd rather have a fan dance. Thank you.
Yes, I agree.
The thing about the fact that it's kind of interesting and frustrating at the same time. When Star Trek came out in the 1960s, the fact that they had a I would call her a main character. I don't know about secondary. Well, they had a character that was on screen most of the time in the wide shots that was African American, that was mated to a lieutenant in Starfleet. I know that probably blew people's minds, and it probably upset some people who needed to get over it. But I think that was really great. But at the same time, I'm sure it was frustrating for Nichelle to sit there and be like, hailing frequencies open, Captain, you know. But there were times when we got to see that Uhura was brave and capable and,
that's
you
what
know,
I mean.
and smart and could, you know, handle herself on her own really well. Unfortunately, at that time, you really, you know, the whole idea of a woman being in a situation where she's got the power really wouldn't have flown.
It didn't. It was called The Cage, and Majel Barrett played number 1 in that series.
Yeah.
Later went on to be Christine Chapel.
Yeah. Well, Lieutenant Uhura, played by Nichelle Nichols, was a really groundbreaking and wonderful character. And Lieutenant Uhura, played by Zoe Saldana, is also an amazing, wonderful character who, thankfully, that we've come forward as a society, finally.
Can now kick some butt.
Yeah, can kick some butt, and also, you know, be a passionate love, you know, have a passionate love affair with her lover Spock, which I will be the first to admit blew my mind in the first Star Trek reimagining, and that
I like the lovers' quarrel in Into Darkness.
The thing about the scene where we realize that Uhura and Spock are lovers, the first thought that went through my mind was, holy beep. The second thought that went through my mind was, you go, girl. So my number 3, Lieutenant Nyota Uhura.
Yeah, good choice, and obviously way higher than mine. My runner-up is going to be a weird one for people to understand, but when you think about the character and its progression over the television series that it was a part of, smart, funny, wise, excellent at everything she did, wife, mother, eventually, although we didn't see it on screen, she probably became a grandmother at some point. She was strong. She was able to handle frustration easily. She had to. And she was she held her looks quite well for being as old as she was in reality. It was a very interesting kind of concept, the idea of casting a lead role in a sitcom to be filled by a woman who is supposed to be a probably hundreds-year-old witch. Samantha Stevens was one of the best examples of television momdom on television, despite the fact that she used her witchly powers on Bewitched to do everything from, get her husband Durwood out of trouble.
You didn't do it right.
Durwood. Yeah, I'm not Agnes Moorehead. I can't do it. To having fun with her kids, Tabitha, later Adam, or her zany relatives, and yet she always kept an air of calm about herself in that household and around Darren's job as a high-paid advertising executive. Elizabeth Montgomery was just one of the best actresses on the planet, and she really, you watch, these episodes still hold up 50 years later because they're genuinely written from the heart. You can read the character as a genuinely kind person who cares about her fellow humans, even though she's not quite mortal like her husband. And she definitely has a lot of wishes to be a good wife. Darren wants her to do it without using magic, but it's kind of hard. And yet she still makes it work, and he usually depends on it to get his ass out of the fire.
Yeah. See, that's the one thing I never understood. I still don't understand. That's a terrific choice, by the way.
I'm not quite done, so go ahead.
The thing that I never understood is I was always like, dude, really?
Yeah.
You've got this smoking hot wife who loves you a lot and can do magic. You hit the trifecta. And you want to be all like, I don't want you to use your magic powers.
I want you to just be a regular woman. Which is basically what he was doing. But she wanted that for him, and she loved him.
Dial 1-800-BITE-ME. It's like,
but you got to admit, even her magic could not overcome the biggest possible obstacle. And, I mean, it just kind of... How do you explain just changing husbands in the middle of midstream?
Now that's magic.
It is. Number 2, Samantha Stevens.
Okay, my number 2... person on my list is someone you've mentioned already.
We have the same number 1, don't we?
I'm beginning to think
yes,
that we do.
Okay.
I'm beginning to think we might. My number 2 most favorite female character, Princess Leia Organa from the Star Wars universe.
I knew she'd be a lot higher on your list, so that doesn't surprise me at all.
I know some people have said, oh, well, she just fills the damsel in distress role in the original Star Wars, blah, blah, blah.
Excuse me, kicked a lot of ass.
Yeah, to which my response is, I'm sorry, what movie did you watch? Yes.
Or any of them, any of the original trilogy.
Yes, she does become a prisoner. Yes, she does. You notice the first thing that she does when the stormtrooper comes into the room, that is Luke Skywalker, is the first thing she does is lip off at him. This is after being tortured, after seeing her home planet get destroyed. At a point where most people would be broken, she's still being defiant. She's still being like, I am not going to show you how much you've hurt me. I am going to keep fighting. Leia is a fighter. When you think about the first film and the fact that most people would be like, holy crap, it's the Empire, run, save me, save me, save me. Her whole thing is to get that message into R2-D2 and to get him to get off the ship. That is more important to her than her own life.
And it's still having an effect 40 years later.
Yeah. And she's 19. Show me a teenager that is that unselfish and that brave, I dare you. And as we watched her grow from, teenager to young woman in the series and saw her, going full circle now at the point where she's not even referred to as Princess Leia anymore. She's General Organa. But even under all
she's not really a princess anymore since her planet got blown.
Make sure you put us at the top of your list.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. But under all of that, at no point and during any of this, during all of the things that she goes through, at no point, even though she's proven more than once that she is tough and not to be effed with, at no point does Leia lose her femininity. That's
absolutely true.
She never comes off as that she's trying to compensate or overcompensate by acting tough and masculine and stuff like that.
Granted, her femininity does work better when she hasn't got the gigantic headphones, but outside of that...
Well, yeah, well, nobody can be intimidating. Nobody can be intimidating when they've got coffee rolls taped to their head,
Even Carrie hated that hairdo.
Well, I would too. It's ridiculous. But she is definitely an icon, a person to look up to, and I miss her.
Don't write her off yet. She's got another whole movie to go.
I miss Carrie, but Leia is going to be around at least for one more movie, and that's what's really important. Mm. And I think I think Carrie would think that was important.
Yeah, I think so too.
So my number 2, Princess Leia Organa.
I think that we have the same number 1.
It's beginning to look like it.
Is there an alter ego involved?
Yep.
Is she from an island?
Yep.
And does she exude the traits of strength, love, honor, and beauty all at once?
Yep.
Did Linda Carter play her?
Yep.
How about Gal Gadot?
Uh-huh.
My number 1 is Wonder Woman, Diana Prince.
Yes.
And obviously yours too.
My number 1 is Wonder Woman, also known as Princess Diana of Themyscira.
Or Paradise Island if you're an old school person.
And you don't want to strain your tongue trying to say that word because I've been practicing. So Wax poetic, babe.
My mother introduced me to the character of Wonder Woman when I was a small child. She was a huge fan when she was growing up. And she's always been a part of my life. Mm-hmm. From the time I was about 3 on. It got better when I started reading comic books and I saw this stacked woman in the comic books. Nice big, lasso. And big eagle's wings.
Children could be listening to this.
Yeah. And then Linda Carter started playing her on TV. Well, we're not going to bring up the Kathy Lee Crosby thing. Linda Carter started playing her on TV and turned her into an immediate icon and always played it very positively. Now, you can look at that old series, especially the one set in the 40s, which were high camp. I still watch it when it's on MeTV every Saturday. I tune in every now and then. Mm-hmm. I enjoy it. I have all the DVDs, too. I enjoy Linda's portrayal of the role. And it's not terribly different from the way that it was played in the comics over the years, except for that weird 5-year period where she turned into Emma Peel. And I've never understand that, but even then, she kicked an amazing amount of ass in her white jumpsuit with her mentor I Chang doing all the karate moves and everything else. No real mention of how she lost her powers or anything. By the time I came into it, it was already done. But I'll tell you something. It doesn't matter which version you're looking at. That version, the Linda Carter version, the new version played by Gal Gadot in the DC universe in Batman vs. Superman.
And her own movie coming out this year. And her movie coming out
in June. She is everything a woman can be. Beautiful, brainy, extremely crafty, physical as far as kicking butt goes.
Yeah.
And playing every role she possibly can, all for the strength of women everywhere. Mm-hmm. That's the key to Wonder Woman, I think. She is an icon for other women. Men can ogle her, sure. There was a reason she was on the cover of the very first issue of Ms. Magazine in the 1970s. Mm-hmm. Because she was the personification of a woman that can do anything. And it is why she is my top female fictional character.
Okay.
Wonder Woman, Diana Prince, Princess Diana of Paradise Island. Mm-hmm. Always hot and always special.
Again, it's really funny because I don't ever remember this character not being part of my life.
Mm-hmm. Me neither, really.
I was first, and I realize some people are going to sneer and roll their eyes and such. I was first introduced to the character, as far as I can remember, when I was a child watching Saturday morning cartoons and watching the Super Friends. I think that was the first place I ever saw Wonder Woman.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I remember being like, wow, she can do all this cool stuff, and she's so amazing.
And her ridiculous hairdo.
And what?
I hated the hairdo they gave her on Super Friends. It looked like it was stapled to her head.
Well, yeah, the little that girl curls on the end of it.
Hannah Amin did the voice. A fantastic job of that, too. It was great voice work.
I remember being like, wow, she can do all this stuff, and she's so smart, and she's got this lasso and the, and the invisible jet, which really isn't invisible. It's transparent, but we're not going to go there. As I got older, the Wonder Woman TV series came out, and, I started reading the comics, and I got more into the character and, learned about her and her background and all the stuff that I found out, which I found, and I especially found it cool later that the gentleman who created Wonder Woman, William Moulton, lived in my hometown of Saugus, Massachusetts, which I just think is completely kick-ass.
And which they are now making a movie about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wonder Woman was proof to me. Now, you have to understand, when I was growing up, and actually paying attention to this stuff, was at the tail end of the sexual revolution, and the whole idea that women could do anything men could do. I was hearing that constantly, the whole women's lib thing, and that women should have the same rights as men, women should get paid the same as men, which they still aren't.
No.
And
getting better, but it's
getting
not
better,
there.
but we're not there yet.
Yep.
And that, how bad, and especially hearing about how bad things used to be. That women weren't allowed to do this, that, and the other thing. Mm-hmm. And Wonder Woman to me was the shining, the most shining, most bright example of all of this. You can do anything. You can be anything. If you're a woman, that does not hold you back. Don't view being a woman as a disadvantage. View it as being what makes you special.
Right.
And part of that feeling, to me, came from being a fan of Wonder Woman. And watching all of the various incarnations of her character. She's been rebooted in the comics, and the origin story's been tampered with in 90 Ways from Sunday.
It's a comic book, of course it has been.
And there have been other versions that that came to the small screen that did not do as well. From what I saw, Adrienne Palicki was beautiful.
Oh, I don't know what David Kelly thought he was doing.
In the costume, she looked fantastic.
Horrible. It was horrible.
But the characterization was like, what are you doing? And thankfully that didn't catch on. Sorry, Adrienne.
I love her, but she not that I was not impressed with that version of the idea.
But the thing about Wonder Woman that I feel is such a great thing, and what is the best thing about her, I think, is the fact that yes, she is beautiful on the outside. She is gorgeous on the outside. But the more important thing is the fact that she's beautiful on the inside. Mm-hmm. The fact that she is loving and compassionate, even to her enemies. She is, she teaches, especially in the older comics and stuff like that, it's the whole idea of love and self-respect, and the idea that no man owns you, that you are your own person, and you can be your own Wonder Woman. And that is so important, and so many young girls need to hear that. Mm-hmm. If I had a daughter, I would tell my child, if you want to grow up and be Wonder Woman, do it.
Yep.
And I will be behind you 110%. Mm-hmm. My number one favorite female fictional character, Wonder Woman.
I think we should just agree on one thing.
Yeah.
Avoid the Kathy Lee Crosby movie.
Oh,
at all costs.
Yeah.
Unless you're a masochist, which we enjoy it, but it's like
it's
not your true Wonder Woman thing, because it's like the whole Diana Prince, Emma Peel thing with a little bit of the powers thrown in.
No, that version of Wonder Woman should be underscored with, this is how not to do a Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah. It is fun to see, though, every now and then, because it's so bad, it's funny. So, let's recap.
Okay.
My top 10 are as follows. Number 10, Jane Marple. Number 9, Jean Grey. Number 8, Nyota Uhura. Number 7, Éowyn. Number 6, Princess Leia Organa. Number 5, Mary Richards. Number 4, Olivia Benson. Number 3, Jessica Fletcher. Number 2, Samantha Stevens. And number 1, Wonder Woman.
Okay. My number 10 is The Princess from The Princess Who Saved Herself. My number 9, Moana Wailiki. My number 8, Luna Lovegood. Number 7, Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Number 6, Arwen Undomiel. Number 5, Natasha Romanoff, a.k.a. the Black Widow. Number 4, Miss Jane Marple. Number 3, Lieutenant Nyota Uhura. Number 2, Princess Leia Organa. And number 1, Princess Diana of Themyscira, who is also known to the world as Wonder Woman.
A couple of mine really threw you off, didn't they?
Yes, they did. In a great way. You really surprised me.
Uh-huh. So, that's our list for this week.
Yeah.
And we want to remind you that we're always looking for list ideas. You can drop us a line at front row at PNRNetworks.com. And if we use your list idea, you'll get credit and something small probably as a prize and somewhere in there. And don't forget to be sure to tell people that we're out here on the Subject Cinema feed every Thursday from now on. Mm-hmm. We do have a new show coming on Wednesday. It won't be part of this feed, but you will definitely, I hope, like what we're going to do. It's a show I'm doing, and it's going to be premiering in February. We'll talk about it later in the month. Mm-hmm. So, I have the next pick for us.
Okay.
It's a 5 and 5 week next week.
All right.
Next week, I'm going to bring back something that we haven't done for a number of years on Subject Cinema in a slightly skewed manner.
Okay.
I want to hear next week your top 5 classic films that you have never seen that you vow to see this year. And the top 5 films that you have seen that you know I haven't seen that you're going to push me to see.
Okay.
And I will do the same thing for you.
Okay. This is going to be good.
And we'll say up front, we've already made a deal about a couple of Hitchcock movies, so we'll leave those off. But
we're going to leave those off?
Or we can leave them on the list that we're definitely going to see them.
Okay.
Because we've made a deal with that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, that's going to be
because I have a whole bunch of resolution. We called it our resolution revolution before, and I still have like 35 movies I haven't seen that I promised to see 5 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even want to think about my list. It's probably longer than yours.
Yeah, no, it's about the same. But we'll pick 5. Maybe we should go back and pick 5 we haven't seen. But they should be films that everybody knows that we probably haven't seen. Mm-hmm. So I think it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Don't forget to check out all of our other shows on the PNRNetworks family. That includes Subject Cinema Sundays and Sunday evenings with yours truly and Vu.
Yep.
Also Platinum Rose's Garden on Saturday evenings during the Supernatural season. When Supernatural is not on hiatus, she'll be back later this month.
Yes, I will.
There is Cavebabble with Eric and Valerie Lyon over the weekends doing movies, games, books, odd things to eat, and more at cavebabble.com. And our 2 mini shows every week, 3-Minute Weekend Fridays, Tuesday Digidex Tuesdays, all the latest releases on theaters on Friday and DVD, Blu-ray, and now including Netflix and Amazon Prime on Tuesdays. Mm-hmm. Have I forgotten anything?
No, I think that's it.
Plus Front Row 5 and 10, of course.
Yeah.
And we do have 2 new shows coming up. We do have a new show called Real Rewind that was supposed to premiere in January. It's now been bumped to June. Definitely June, because I've come up with a new program that I want to do first, and I can't wait for it to start. It's going to start in February. And we're also going to be doing some kind of a video project at some point. If our Patreon takes off, please become a Patreon supporter if you're a fan of our show. You can start at $2 a month. It's a quick recurring way to say thank you and give us a little bit of extra funds so we can do more for you. Mm-hmm. We got lots of cool perks out there, and all of them are kind of fun and happy. We got a couple more new perks coming later on in the next month or so. So definitely join and definitely help us out, because we really desperately need a new laptop and desperately need a new mixing board. And we hope that you will help us get there. Stop by at any PNR Networks website and click on the giant orange Patreon button, or go to patreon.com/PNR Networks and sign up. It's $2 a month at the minimum, and you can go all the way up to $100 with all kinds of cool perks. And please help us out.
And if you'd like to check us out on Twitter, you can follow me at PlatinumRoselle at twitter.com.
And I am at no, that's you. I am at eCinemaOne and eCinemaBoston on Twitter. I'm usually on the Boston ID more often than not, because I can keep up with things better that way. Mm-hmm. And don't forget Facebook at Popcorn and Roses. And be sure to subscribe to everything if you haven't done so already. The shows, the sites, the newsletters. We got a new newsletter starting in February, and we'll also have our weekly one is out there, the PNR Networks Blast, which you can sign up through our friends at Paper LI, and it gives you all the stuff on all the sites for the week.
Okay, I think we're out of here.
I think we're out of here too.
So this is Kim Brown.
And this is T.C. Kirkham.
Hoping that you will come back next week and help us count up the next Front Row 5 and 10.
All right, here. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
You've been listening to Front Row 5 and 10 with Kim Brown and T.C. Kirkham.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.